All right, you guys know we love the Mutahar slop. Is this coming? Oh, right. This was supposed to be like a multi-part series. The first was he faked being an engineer. I don't know if this is a response to Mutahar's like very light response. Let's just see what we got here.
I'm Nicandros. You may have seen my previous video. Mutahar's been a fake engineer for 10 years.
You think this guy's voice is this guy's voice AI? I can't tell anymore. We're doing too much AI stuff.
The video's been way more successful than I ever expected. I assumed it would simmer in the background for a month before I released my big video, but it blew up instantly, and Mutahar has responded. In the video, I exposed
that do be what happening.
Mutahar for giving inconsistent
Should have just made it one big old piece, you know?
Statements about his educational background and qualifications. Did he go to university for computer engineering or computer science? Did he drop out after a semester, or does he leave it open to leave his audience to conclude he graduated?
Or does he here on an H-1B visa? I don't know. I'm sorry.
Sometimes he'll talk about STEM degrees while claiming to be an engineer and therefore biased in favor of them, despite the fact that he has no such degree.
Is it bad if you don't get a STEM degree? Look, I'm gonna sound biased as fuck, but STEM degrees all the way.
STEM degrees are for losers that like flowers.
I'm gonna sound biased because, you know, as an engineer, like, you know, you want to get the degree that's gonna get you a job, you know, a good job. Not saying other degrees can't, but like, you gotta be smart.
If he wasn't trying to be
Damn, that's from 2023, boy.
Deceptive, why didn't he say, I don't have a degree, but I'm still an engineer?
Or he could just be like, yeah, you know what, I think you should get an engineering degree. I didn't finish mine, but STEM is really valuable.
The way, it does seem to be the case that merely holding yourself out to the public as an engineer is a violation of the law in Ontario where Mutahar lives.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's shitty. I just don't care that much. It's not that deep to me where it's like, let's do some legal stuff. You know what I mean? Like, okay. Hey, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, I agree. I don't really care enough to call the police when that fucking cringe, you know?
As Professional Engineers Ontario, a self-regulatory body, not a random engineer labor union, has fined a politician in 2016 for introducing himself as an engineer on television when he wasn't a licensed engineer.
Get him, dude. Send him into the authorities. Get him. I don't. Okay, cool. I mean, sure.
Do note.
I mean, if it's what you want to do, be my guest. I personally don't give enough of a fuck, but you know, brother, whatever drives you forward, and if he's gonna get into legal troubles, that's fine. You know, he's falsely claiming he's an engineer. You know, I don't know how meaningful those he would claim those platforms are not meaningful, or there's probably more context, or I don't really know what he would say, but
that this person used to be a fully licensed engineer, degree holding professional engineer, but because he was no longer licensed, he lost the right to call himself an engineer. There is no jail time for breaking this law, only a fine if you refuse to cease misusing this protected title.
Well, then he would probably just say, I haven't used it in a while or something, right? Like, when's the last time he claimed he was an engineer? I don't remember from the video. I didn't internalize it. Because I have better things to internalize, right? Like that porn video I've been looking for that was really good that I watched when I was 16, and I just can't seem to find it. I wish I internalized that.
Despite admitting at points that he was a former engineer, that he was a dropout, Mutahar was introducing himself as an engineer as recently as June of 2025.
I feel like a doctor trying to explain like how fucking medical procedures work as an engineer, telling people that AI is like...
And at times, he leaned on these credentials to sound more authoritative. I also constructed a timeline.
Well, that's probably why he did it. He wanted people to think he was an authority on the matter. When he's just a guy. He's just a normal dude with a what is it? Affinity, with an affinity for computers. He should have been more honest. I agree.
Which demonstrated that Mutahar has been a former engineer for a decade. He was getting a videography diploma, he worked as a video editor, but in 2019 he began calling himself not just an engineer, but a computer engineer. Note that he has never called himself a software engineer. A computer engineer...
I don't think that this video should have been made. I don't really see the productive nature of it. You made your video, he responded. I would have just worked on your second video and made this part of it.
Isn't some Canadian English version of a software engineer. It's a much more hardware development-focused engineering discipline, closer to electrical engineering. Mutahar does not display this kind of knowledge or skill in his content. It took him months to switch the batteries on his fucking smoke detector.
Damn.
He's been called...
Racist joke. It could be put in there somewhere.
himself a computer engineer for a decade because of computer work he did in high school. He claims to have done penetration testing.
I've done that before. It was all consensual though.
That he's a cybersecurity expert.
I know when I say that, I mean I was the one getting penetrated.
That he does network security, and that he was coding bank applications as a high schooler. He claimed he would have made a lot of money in these fields, but also that it was a dead-end job. Dang. Is there any proof that these jobs were ever real?
I feel like an engineer, how do you do a dead-end engineer job? I feel like you would be like, that's pretty big. That looks like an engineer job. How do you do a dead-end engineer job? I feel like engineer jobs pay really well.
Is there proof that his globe-trotting video engineer career was real? I don't know. According to further research by Harmful Opinions, Mutahar called his work...
this is a different guy. I thought this was the same guy.
Blue-collar computer programming.
What does blue-collar computer programming mean? Isn't that white? Is that a white-collar job? No, blue-collar. No, it's not. I'm dumb. Blue-collar means... So many fucking collars.
Before he switched to calling it engineering in 2015. And that term stuck with him for 10 years, misleading millions of
manual labor or skilled trades. Okay.
People into perceiving him as far more qualified.
Wait, so blue collar refers to jobs that primarily involve manual labor or skilled trades, often requiring physical effort and specialized training rather than office-based work. Wait, wouldn't this be like a white collar job then? Yeah, manual workers or worker, right? Is a fucking computer tech job a blue collar job? Maybe I'm just like wrong. I'm Googling it, so. I feel like it's not. What? Like a mechanic is a blue collar job. Like a yellow collar job, apparently. I'm just like looking stuff up. Like this has this interesting, it's like blue collar construction, food processing, maintenance, mining. You know, these are things where you wear like a blue shirt typically, like a blue uniform. Then you have like yellow collar jobs, I guess. Soda work, machine repair. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be that. I don't think it would be a blue collar job though, but it doesn't really matter.
And educated than he was. Others have pointed out that he used his credibility to smear Mama Max as having possessed child sexual abuse material, bestiality, or animal abuse videos.
Well, I think that's a different scenario. I don't want to get into it. From what I remember, he apparently had some, what do they call it, CSAM? Accessible? As evidence against somebody, but that made him look like a goose.
The video that you would have to be hashed by the FBI or any of these agencies as actual child porn. And it would...
No, it wouldn't. I don't know where he's saying this.
I don't know what they're talking about.
He literally just read a Reddit post.
There was no proof.
I don't know what that means.
Proof of this. The only reason he was believed was because he was perceived to have these high credentials.
What?
Animal abuse videos.
The video that you would have to be hashed by the FBI or any of these agencies as actual child porn.
I don't know. I don't even know what they're talking about. I don't remember the specifics.
It wouldn't. I don't know where he's saying this. He literally just read a Reddit post.
There was no...
That do be what you Redditing for.
...proof of this. The only reason he was believed was because he was perceived to have these high credentials. Mutahar's initial response to my video was to ban the word engineer from his comments. When that didn't succeed, he stopped uploading for a week and went quiet on social media.
So at this point, you know, we're about like a week into not crapping, right?
He did private a video which Harmful Opinions covered in one of his videos, and he wiped an entire channel of podcasts he used to do with his friends.
We started a podcast called Cult Camp? Oh, what?
Meaning that he was following this quite closely behind the scenes.
Probably. Well, I don't know if this quite closely might be doing a lot of legwork, but he probably saw it and was like, okay, let me just remove some stuff that people could cry about.
Now he's back, and he's made a 2-minute response buried 3 minutes into a random 32-minute video.
Probably the best way that he could do it, to be honest with you.
Let's see it.
Now, YouTube's pretty much engineered, I would say, in their mind, it seems a pretty foolproof way of isolating...
He said engineered. That's the giggle juice.
...kitties from adults. Now, I use the E word over there, and I want to just start talking a little bit. I know there's been some drama, and I want to kind of address things here really quickly. So, obviously, I have been calling myself a engineer, in some cases a programmer, a cybersecurity engineer, whatever.
I thought it was funny that he put being an engineer on the screen.
You can call it. And, you know, I apparently have also been a dropout, which I don't hide. Now, obviously, me being a dropout, I don't have a degree, so I'm not a certified or licensed engineer. Now, I made a lot of videos in the past where I've taught you guys about computer safety, cybersecurity, a lot of this stuff, and I think that content stands up on its own. And I believe it actually can be used, you know, and people have learned from it, and I think that's great. Now, if you feel offended, if you feel wronged that I called myself an engineer while not being a degree-holding engineer, then for that I do apologize. And I will denigrate myself to, you know, I guess programmer or a fat Indian guy that knows a bit about computers.
What does the word denigrate mean? Criticize, unfairly disparage? I don't think that the word denigrate works here because you are not, you know. That's an interesting choice of words. But okay.
That's what I'll leave it at.
He's an engineer in spirit.
And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Just like me, man. I'm a gynecologist in spirit, okay? I'm allowed to do what I do to those ladies. Oh, sorry. That's a little crazy.
Now, again, if you want to stick around, awesome. If you still feel wronged and this does not suffice for you, then I don't really give a fuck. Simple as that.
I mean, frankly, it was probably the best response that he could really give based on the situation. Like it seems like the best that he's, you know what I mean? It's fine.
Now, again, that being said, if anything else comes out of this, you know, whether there be some legal stuff, then I'll just let lawyers handle it and we'll call it at that. But that being said, I want to move forward, and that's pretty much the engineered response that I had to give.
I feel like that was the best, like pretty much the best response that you were really gonna. It was like a pretty solid response.
I ended my video in a pretty melodramatic.
He's just so disingenuous. Yeah, whatever. I mean, like, listen, it's not that deep. I feel like it's like, okay, listen, I shouldn't have called myself that kind of a thing. Well, he said it a little bit more sarcastic than that, but it is what it is. He suddenly doesn't. It doesn't seem like he cares. Whatever. I feel like, what would you expect for him to do? You know.
Phrase.
Where did you see that?
The only power I have is the one you give me when you lie. That was my awkward, cringy attempt at conveying to Mutahar in a brief and concise manner that as long as he keeps lying, all he does is hurt himself. He had the choice of telling the truth, but once again, he's misled his audience about what happened. He is betting on them not knowing anything about the situation, and he's omitting massive amounts of context in an effort to mislead them. He's been, among other things, misappropriating a protected title for a decade to come across as more authoritative to his audience. He's been lying to them for 10 years.
Now, if you feel offended, if you feel wronged...
Every little thing, from the visuals to the word choices, is him dodging accountability and attempting to downplay it. Hey, look, I'm in on the joke. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Look at these videos where I'm looking at code and computer code looking things. I must be pretty advanced. Apparently I'm a dropout without any higher education that an engineer would have. I don't know why that's relevant. He claims he doesn't hide it, but this bitch has called himself an engineer like 70 times, while he's revealed himself to be a dropout like 5 times.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man, is that like, what you're saying is true, but most people don't, like, most people don't care that much. Like, this guy's video is solid. The ending was weird and creepy because it like felt like a call to doxing, but whatever. And you know, I just feel like his response was fine. Like, I mean, it's the best that we were gonna. He's like, yeah, listen, you know, here's the thing. 2 minutes, really quick, so short and sweet. And I'm not really an engineer. I'm just a computer guy, and blah 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 blah. And you know, because it was pretty solid. It was decent. You know, I think most people are satisfied with that response. Like, I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. So, you know, I just I feel like most normal people, the only people left that'll stay outraged, I think, are they'll terminally online personally. But
your audience doesn't see all of your content. If Mutahar believed that was true, he would be smart enough not to lie like this in the first place.
Now, I mean, a lot
like even the example he gave of that other guy's, like Dickers, right? I don't know if he's right either because it's not enough of an explanation. So maybe Mutahar was right. I don't really know the context. You know what I mean? So it's not like we've really disproven his information is wrong. Have we shown that Mutahar is like wrong when he talks about computers? It doesn't really seem so.
Videos in the past where I've taught you guys about computer safety, cybersecurity, a lot of this stuff, and I think that content stands up on its own.
Like, I think it would have been worth, I guess, criticizing the video he placed it in because he was talking about computer, whatever ID stuff.
And I believe it actually can be used, and people have learned from it, and I think that's great.
Claiming that people have learned from his content is an incredibly low bar and not something that was contested in the first place. If you like to use the brush tools in Photoshop...
Well, I think I understand what you're saying, but I think his point is like, hey, just because I said I was an engineer doesn't mean that what I said is misleading content-wise. I think that's more what he means, which is kind of fair.
Did you know that by holding down Alt and right-click, you can move your mouse to change the size and the hardness of your brush? Congratulations! Thousands of Photoshop users
what the fuck is this?
Watching this video just rush to open the software in order to try that trick. People have learned from this video, but I don't need to call myself a graphic design engineer or someone working in TV and film to woo an audience. If I made content that I believed stood up on its own, I wouldn't have to inflate my credentials.
Maybe that could be what he's thinking. He could also just be thinking, I'm gonna call myself an engineer because I went to school for it. Like the thing here is like, oh, Mutahar, because he lied about being an engineer, that means that he's telling us that he knows his work doesn't stand well for itself. That could be true. Or he might just be some guy that had a computer interest and like went to some engineering classes and he was like a typical fucking, girl in college saying that they, because they took a psychology class, they are psychologists. You know what I mean? I don't know that intentionality behind those words is that malicious. He might actually really believe what he's saying. If anything, he's probably really thinks that what he's saying is on the same level as an actual engineer. And so maybe if anything, he would have a sense of inflated ego, I think, more than anything else, no?
So this is a nonsense statement.
Me being a dropout, I don't have a degree, so I'm not a certified or licensed engineer.
His phrasing here implies he is still an engineer, just not a degree-holding engineer. What engineer are you then? After 10 years of bragging about it in public, making it our business...
All Mutahar has to do is live in the United States, so this wouldn't have been a problem.
You should be able
to... Because it's only illegal in Canada, I guess, to say you're an engineer when you're not, right?
Tell us, where did this come from? What are your credentials? What work have you done? You believe in open source software, you call yourself a programmer. Where's your GitHub? What contributions have you made in the past 10 years? Okay. Then he tries to guilt trip people by saying he'll denigrate himself by calling himself just a programmer or a fat Indian who knows a bit about computers. He could have said that he was insecure in his youth and used the word engineer without knowing it was...
He should have said that his dad had a high expectation on him, so he didn't want to disappoint him.
Illegal to feel better about himself. Then that claim kind of stuck around, and he was too embarrassed to admit that he wasn't one. It would be so simple, but Mutahar cannot ever admit to having made a mistake, or at least take responsibility for it.
More like Putahar, am I right, guys?
Right. What do you think makes you come across as a likable man of character? Someone with the footing to judge others, as you have done for years.
Is this an AI voice?
I'm kind of the fuck.
Because some of the way he talks is like a little off.
Efficient.
Maybe I'm just like too AI brained.
Not of handing out these reality checks to a lot of things.
Is it by being a coward who lies all the time, shifts blame, and never accepts their fallibility? Or is it by being someone who takes the blame for their mistakes, someone who knows their limits and speaks the truth? Do you believe your audience is entitled to the truth about who you are? Because they will only trust you as much as you trust them. They will respect you as much as you respect them.
Sure, and I think that part of, like, this is the thing, is that if he gave this long-winded apology, people wouldn't have respected him. One of the biggest problems that creators have is over-apologizing for shit. He proportionally, I think, apologized, generally speaking, to the gist of the claim, which was like he called himself an engineer even though he didn't actually have an engineering thing. And his response was like, hey, I don't have like the actual qualifications to be an engineer. Sorry if you feel misled. But if it's something that you're still upset with, I don't fucking care. If anything goes legal, I'll deal with that with lawyers, and like it is what it is. I feel like people still learn from my content. I don't think it's a big deal, and it's like okay, and there's no contestment so far that what he's taught in his content was wrong. So I don't think it is that deep. I think it's like a little petty, you know. I would have just released your second part. I don't think that, but like whatever. I mean, like you do you. It's whatever. I don't think that this is resonating with like most, like offline people.
Now they've realized you're full of shit.
I was full of shit, literally. Like I was full of fecal matter.
And what's your response?
There's poo-poo in you. Ew.
If you still feel wronged and this does not suffice for you, then I don't really give a fuck. Simple as that.
This behavior is not really to your benefit at all.
It probably is, and I will say that he is still a larger creator, so he probably has a better idea of like how he should respond, and I think he responded correctly.
It's your critics, but it especially benefits me. Now a large chunk of your audience and the public knows you're full of shit. And it's not that hard anymore to convince them that you've done this exact thing before. Dear viewer.
That might be true. Like the mythology of Mutahar has crumbled over the past like year, we'll say. So people are more receptive to criticisms on him. But that's just kind of like the natural progression of a creator. Like you can't stay clean forever, you know what I mean? So it's I don't know how much like his viewers are like shitting themselves. I don't know how much of his viewers are terminally online. Although he did used to cover a lot of drama, but I don't know, man. I feel like it's not that deep. I mean, he's just like Indian fucking Moist Critical, isn't he?
Did you feel confused when Mutahar came out with his video denouncing Nuxtaku? Did you feel he was overreacting? That he was distancing himself from him pretty hardcore relative to his actual points of discontent?
I feel like it doesn't matter. Speaking on this issue from like a year ago, it's like it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, that's just like what happened here. Mutahar omitted massive amounts of context, because if he told you the full truth, he would have to admit that while he was eager to attack and condemn creators like Ava Chris Tyson for being fans of a lolicon artist, or for having kids on a Discord server with porn on it, he was running cover for and defending someone who turned that into their entire content model.
Well, to be fair to Nux, as much as I don't like Nuxtaku, I don't think Nux was having... So, Ava Chris Tyson, nothing I saw was them trying to groom a child or anything, but they did have like a Discord where there were people like talking to each other and making like, edgy sexual jokes, which is like typical for young men. I did that when I was young, whatever. I don't think anybody was in danger, but as a creator, you should act a little bit more responsibly. I don't think that there was ever a claim that Nux had a Discord where he was making the like sexual jokes with like 17 or minors or whatever in the Discord, so I don't think that it's quite the same. This seems like an inflation of Nuxtaku's shit. I mean, he would watch some weird, like they would watch weird porn together for content, inappropriate for sure, but I feel like there's you're trying to draw a direct parallel to the intensity of what they were both doing. I don't think that's the same, unless I'm missing context from the Nuxtaku stuff.
Forgive me, Lord, but I did it. Please forgive me. Stop sending Gentai. Why? I already lost No Nut November. Half of my class saw Aqua's butthole on my screen. To be fair, mad respect for sending Aqua's butthole.
Wow, what a picture.
And your class should be thankful.
That's a post from Nuxtaku's...
I don't even know who Aqua is. What are we saying?
...subreddit. At the time this video was made, the OP of this post was a 12-year-old child.
Whoa!
They were not a one-time poster.
Well, I don't think Reddit is the same as Discord. Reddit's not as like, right? I don't think so. Reddit's kind of like random.
And they were not was a 12-year-old child.
I watched it when I was 11, and now I'm 12.
They were not a one-time poster, and they were not the only...
I was jacking off at 13, man. I don't care.
Extremely young child that was involved in this community.
Like, was Nux talking to them? Like,
focused around...
making jokes to them, or were they just in the Discord? I mean, excuse me, the Reddit.
Adult content. There's plenty more material to cover in my bigger video, but let me tell you this.
Yeah, I feel like the Reddit is not... the Discord is like... You have more control over your Discord, do you not?
Mutahar was notified about this stuff in a confrontation almost exactly a year ago. Okay. What action did he take? Nothing. Because if the truth came out, he would look bad for being so close to Naxtaku. This guy is sitting here telling you that the government needs to stay away from the internet. It's so horrible when people are forced to verify their age on social media.
Cool.
I know it's annoying. I know it's frustrating. And I know it can be used for information control, mass manipulation, censorship, blah, blah, blah. But I've seen what it looks like when these man-children self-regulate. What it looks like when they are holding each other accountable. And what I mean by that,
I don't think this video helped you, boss man.
is that they don't. They are 100% willing to prioritize their career, income, and their ego over the safety of children on the platform. But that's a story for the bigger video. Some people have unfortunately gotten the idea that I'm going to expose Mutahar as some kind of a pedophile. That is not the case. He's not refusing to call this stuff out because he secretly condones it. He is simply just that much of a total bitch, afraid of any controversy, with a chance it might stain his reputation. A worthless, spineless pushover. Somehow, his actions in this situation were even more pathetic than pretending to be different kinds of engineer for a decade.
Listen, man, I'm just going to let you guys know that when you make videos like this, you look worse. Like, I think that, maybe I'm just projecting or whatever, but as a normal dude, I watched this guy's first video. It was a solid video, except for the end where it seems to suggest you should dox Mutahar. It was very strange. Mutahar's response was short, sweet, to the point of like the meat and potatoes, which is like, I sensationalized being an engineer. I'm paraphrasing, of course, and I'm not technically an engineer, but I still feel like I taught people stuff, and I'm sorry if you feel upset by that. If there's something that still bothers you, I don't really fucking care. And if something goes legally, I'll go in that route. Pretty solid response in my opinion. And then your response is to kind of get like very upset with that. And like I don't think anybody, like, it's a fun goon. The content was a fun goon, but it wasn't that deep to most people, I think. So yeah, man, I got, hopefully your second video is solid. But I would have just worked on the second one instead of responding to this.